Welcome back to another episode of the Joey Musto Show presented by Team Musto. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Kihei condo that recently came off the market, that was on the market for over a year. We're going to talk about what I think the sellers got wrong and what a better strategy would have been. We're also going to talk about a new listing at the islands at Maui Lani, and I'm going to tell you what it means for the active inventory that is already there. So let's get started with Kihei Akahi C414. It's a one bed, one bath, 655 square foot unit that has been on the market and just recently got taken off for 365 days. Property specs. Kihei Akahi is a hotel zone condo complex that is located across the street from Kamaole Beach Park II. All the Kamaole Beach parks are great for swimming, great for hanging out. And it really gives you a South Kihei kind of experience. You're near Fred's, Moose's, and Cafe Olay. I have recommended Cafe Olay to people in the past. You're close to Rainbow Mall and Kihei Kalama Village. Nothing there to get too excited about. However, if you do like to shop, you are closer to the shops at Wailea. If you go with something at Kihei Akahi compared to something, more in North Kihei, like Sugar Beach Resort or Menehune Shores. So there's plenty of good reasons to want to be at Kihei Akahi. Um, just this particular unit was a little bit overpriced and couldn't justify the premium that it was asking. So let's go ahead and talk about it. How did the Kihei condo market perform in February 2026? Well, it did perform better than it did in January 2026. Sales were up 58% month over month. We saw 19 condos sell, that is down 5% year over year. So the Kihei condo market already struggled during 2025 and is continuing to struggle in 2026. The median price is up 3.7% in February 2026, which is pretty much the only positive news from all this. For sellers, total dollar volume is down 7% year over year. If you look year to date, again, February did have a better month than January. 31 condos have sold year to date. That's down 24.4% year over year. Like I mentioned before, 2025 was already a slow year for the Kihei condo market. Median price was down 10.4% year over year, and total volume is down 31.1% year over year. So overall, it's not a bad market if you're looking to buy, and you're looking to bear a little bit of uncertainty with all that's going on with Bill 9. As far as one bed, one bath sales over the past 90 days, we saw 16 sell. That's a little bit less than two bed, two bath, which I believe was over 20. The median sold price was 490 grand with a median price per square foot at 828, with most units trading between $800 to $900 per square foot. So I really believe the story with the C414 is that it was just priced too high and it didn't deserve the premium that it was asking. Competition is killing Kihei Akahi right now. So there's 12 active listings at the complex right next door, Maui Banyan, which is another hotel zone condo complex. There are 11 active listings. And at one of my favorite condo complexes in Kihei, Menehune Shores, there are 8 active listings. So all of those are hotel zone condo complexes. Um, and in my opinion, Menehune Shores is the best. It's the only one that's right on the water. Kihei Akahi and Maui Banyan are across the street. However, you could argue that Kamaole Beach Park II and that stretch of Kamaole Beach Parks are just better than what Menehune Shores has to offer. I personally like the fish pond that's right out front of Menehune Shores and the fact that it has a restaurant. So I think Menehune Shores has a lot to offer. At Kihei Akahi, sales have been slow. In the past 90 days, we've only seen one unit sell, and in the past 6 months, we've seen two. Banyan, on the other hand, is more in demand. It is still slow, but in the past 6 months, we've seen 7 sales. Specifically looking at C414, is it priced at a premium? It was listed at 670 grand. That comes out to over $1,000 per square foot, which is higher than the one bed market, which we talked about in the last slide, between 800 to $900 per square foot. The median 828, and then the Kihei Akahi range 831 to 1,117. So one of the first reasons that I said this thing deserved a premium was because it was hotel zoned. So not all the one bed, one bath units that sold in the past 90 days um, in Kihei were hotel zoned. So you could argue that with all the uncertainty around Bill 9 and some of these places not able to do short-term rentals anymore, um, that C414 deserves a premium for that. And I would agree with you on that. However, then I would point to the Kihei Akahi range, which is between 831 to 1,117, and say, well, you're still priced above this. Um, and then the second reason would be ocean views. Obviously, if the unit has a killer ocean view, it deserves to be priced at a premium. However, you'll find with most things at Kihei Akahi, and this goes for Maui Banyan as well. This is again one of the reasons that Menehune Shores is my favorite. The ocean views at Banyan and Akahi are just not as good. And what I mean by that is they're obstructed. They can be obstructed by each other in some cases. Like if you get a unit, in the back at Kihei Akahi, you might be looking at Maui Banyan and the water at the same time. So in this case, I mean, it does have an ocean view, so maybe it deserves a little bit of a premium, but definitely not the premium that it got, or that it was trying to sell for. Looking forward from there, how would we have gotten this sold? So I kind of have three price ranges here: aggressive, moderate, and test the market. I find that when I've been doing this most of the time, I end up recommending the moderate pricing. However, in this case, just with the amount of competition at Kihei Akahi and surrounding complexes, I think it would have been good to go in the aggressive price range here or between the aggressive and the moderate pricing. Aggressive would have been around 525 to 545. That's based on the 800 to $830 per square foot range we were looking at. In the previous slide, it positioned below market to attract immediate interest in multiple offers. So if you are going to sell something at Kihei Akahi, you have to have, what is the reason that people want to buy it? And unless you have one of those front row ocean view, just absolutely killer ocean views, and even if you do some updates and renovations, you'll find that a lot of the units have already done that. They put in new flooring, LVP flooring, or they put in granite countertops, or they did something with the bathroom. So it's kind of hard to justify a premium based on the renovations. So I think somewhere between aggressive and moderate would have been good for this one, especially considering how slow the Kihei condo market has been. The reason I wouldn't go with just the aggressive price range here, maybe push a little bit higher, is because you do have the fact that it is hotel zoned. So that is better than something at Maui Sunset right now or Kahale Makai or Luanakai. Again, this depends on the buyer. Somebody might want to live here. They don't care about renting it out. But I would say in most cases, most interactions that I've had with people, when I'm at these Kihei condo complexes, most of them are concerned about Bill 9. I haven't met anybody, maybe one or two people that were like, we don't care. But most people have questions about it. So that's why maybe you could push this close to moderate and then test the market. I think it's just silly in this market. Um, and there's no reason to do it right now. So that's all I've got on Kihei Akahi, but now I want to talk about this new listing 20 Pukukai Place in Kahului. It's at the islands at Maui Lani, and the reason that I bring this one up is because last week I talked about a property in Maui Lani that I thought was worth keeping an eye on, but this one kind of changes the picture. So this is a 4 bed, 3 bath home, same size as 11 Meliana Place, which is the one that I was talking about last week. It's actually a little bit bigger based on square footage, 2,257 on a 6,856 square foot lot. Single family home, built in 2003, remodeled in 2024, two-story floor plan with open concept living. Just some layouts and features: downstairs bedroom and full bath, open kitchen, dining, and living area, upstairs loft space with additional bedrooms. So we are going to take a look at it here. And then if you guys want to, in um, on my Instagram, I posted what I thought the future of 11 Miliana Place would be. And I just kind of want to show you what this new listing does for that one. So if you look at the pictures, but if you want to check that video out on Instagram, it provide a little bit more context here. So they didn't do as quite a good job on the pictures as I think 11 did. Some of these pictures look like they just stitched together, but I'm gonna try and look past that. So it looks like a nice kitchen. Got a little bar area there. Looks like it'd be good to host people here. You got 4 chairs here. You got the dining room there, and then it's just like easy indoor outdoor living, which I'm a fan of. 2 stories, like I mentioned before. Bedrooms look like they have space. The bathrooms look nice, renovated. Um, but this is just to kind of give you an idea of what we're dealing with here. Upstairs. And then if I could just flip to, so this is the outdoor kind of living space here. And yeah, so it's a pretty standard home in the islands. Um, if I could just pull to see what some of them fully renovated kitchen with the quartz counters. just like I talked about, the people do at Kihei Akahi. I'm just trying to see if any of the bathrooms were updated as well, renovated downstairs. Yep, bedroom and full bath, provides an ideal space for guests, etc. Um, so it's now been on the market for 5 days and it's listed at 1.595. So getting back into the show here, because really I want to talk about this one because I want to talk about 11. Um, and I want to talk about what happens when you list your home and your neighbor follows, because I think this is kind of an interesting dynamic. 11 has now been on the market for 14 days. This one listed after at 5 days, and it listed at a lower price, and it was bigger on a square footage standpoint, but same kind of layout, four bed, three bath. So when inventory increases, so does your competition. Obviously, if you live in a neighborhood and you put your home up for sale and you're the only one in that neighborhood for sale, you don't have much competition, right? Like if people want to buy a home in the islands and there's only one home to look at, it makes your job a little bit easier, right? More listings in your neighborhood, the less your property stands out. So once other homes start to pop up, people are not only looking at yours, they're looking at yours and then they're comparing it to what's down the street or what's around the corner. Inventory drives attention, so it's not always a bad thing because if I am scheduling some showings for the buyer and say I want to show them something in the Legends at Maui Lani, and there is two things for sale there. Or I can show them something at the Greens, which is similar, right? And they just want to be in the Maui Lani area. And there's six homes for sale there. Well, it'd be easier for me to schedule and coordinate. And I'd probably do both of them, to be honest. But anyway, the point of it being that if there's six listings in one neighborhood and you can bang that out in an afternoon with a client, you're probably going to go to that neighborhood rather than go to a neighborhood where there's only one listing. So it's not always a bad thing. When inventory increases in your neighborhood. But what you should do is decide within the first 7 to 10 days if you need to adjust your price. Because if you're listed at 1.5 and a home down the street um, that's bigger based on square footage and maybe a more ideal floor plan, or they have something that you don't have and they list under, right? It makes it even harder to sell your home. And you need to put yourself in the buyer's shoes, right? Like if you were looking in the neighborhood and there was something that was bigger and it had a pool and it was renovated in 2025 and we're in 2026, right? And they did the renovations and they put in a flooring that you love. Like there could be so many things. You can kind of understand why the buyer would end up purchasing that one over your home, especially if there's a big gap in the price. So if your property is priced higher, you have to be able to justify to people why does your property provide more value to buyers, and if your property is priced lower, you have to market the hell out of that. So if people are coming into your neighborhood, right now, you don't actually have to do this. This would be the job of the agent, unless you want to go out there and stand with a sign and just go up to people and say, "Hey, come check out this." Um, but if your property is priced lower, I would market, market, market. If buyers are coming in and they're going to see the other property, they're going to see something that you know is not as good and is priced as higher. I think it's a great opportunity because obviously right there you have people that are qualified buyers. Um, so I think it makes it easier to market your home and just make sure that they know yours exists, make it easy and available to show. So does Meliana have to adjust? So Meliana is priced higher. It's priced $70 per square foot higher. List price is only 1.5% higher, but price per square foot is 10% higher. Can it justify its price? So buyers are going to see more house for less money at Pukukai. So Pukukai is bigger. It is the better value on paper and in condition, despite Meliana being smaller and older. This other one was remodeled in 2024. And then you kind of have to ask yourself, because when I looked at it, it's pretty apples to apples, but you have to ask yourself, does a pool justify a 10% higher price per square foot? So 11 Meliana does have a pool. Now that could be something that's important to, the buyers, but in most cases, I think people would look at both of these property and go with the one that is more affordable or more reasonable. And then would we be adjusting at Meliana? I think in most cases, I don't think you would have to adjust right away on this one, just because it's not like it's listed way higher. However, the activity in the islands at Maui Lani has just been so slow. In the past 6 months, we've only seen one sale on the islands. And you have indirect competition at the parkways at Maui Lani, where we saw, I believe it was 10 sell. Now, only four of those were resale. So you're also competing with the new inventory at the parkways. And you're now in direct competition with Pukukai, right? So I think if you really want to get this thing sold, it wouldn't be a bad idea to adjust the price now. And there's a couple of reasons why I would adjust the price pretty early. Um, Demand in Central Maui is still there, and it is there now. In February 2026, we saw 7 homes sell in Kahului and in Wailuku. Now you may be looking at these numbers and like, well, it's kind of low. It's a small sample size. Well, this is, as far as single family homes go, this is what's performing right now in Maui. Everything else in pretty much every other area is slower. So Maui Lani continues to be one of the more active areas. Like I talked about, past 90 days, 10 homes sold at the parkways at Maui Lani, and 4 of them were resale. So should Meliana adjust? I think because of this new entry, they should at least consider it. If this were priced correctly, it would already be an escrow. So it's been on the market for 14 days now. Um, we listed and sent a home pending in 4 days out in Wailuku at the cottages at Kehalani, 18 Makaho Loop. So I think that shows that, and on a price per square foot basis, we were priced at 927, um, which I won't say any more about that. But the point of it being, if you were priced correctly, this thing would already be pending, in my opinion. Now buyers can get better value at a lower price. Right now, they can just go down the street and they can get the same size. I mean, same floor plan and a little bit more size at this new listing. Besides the pool, it's hard to see how Meliana stands out compared to Pukukai, right? Downsides to waiting. Buyers will choose Pukukai first and you become the fallback. Pukukai sets the new price benchmark and you're forced to react to it. So the second point is what I think is really important here, because if Pukukai drops, right, like if it ends up selling for less than it's listed, now this becomes the new standard at the islands for a 4 bed, 3 bath, right? People are going to be like, well, say it sells for 1.425 million. Now that's going to make it even harder to sell 11 in the future because people are going to be using that one as the comp. So in a normal market, in a market where we saw more transactions at the islands at Maui Lani, maybe you don't have to adjust this quickly after the new one is listed. But if you do want to get this thing sold, and that is the job, um, I don't think it would be a bad idea to lower their price. Here's just our information, all of our team information. I'm on all the social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Uh, what else is there? Substack for written content, X, Twitter. Um, And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share what you guys want to see in the comment section below. And yeah, hopefully weather stays clear. Today we got a clear day, pretty much. Some parts of the island are still raining, but we're doing better. So hope everybody has a good rest of their day.